At 12 years old, most children are learning multiplication tables and playing video games. Elon Musk was doing both, except he was also programming his own video game and selling it to a computer magazine for $500. This early glimpse of entrepreneurial genius would prove prophetic for a boy who would grow up to revolutionize multiple industries and become one of the world's most polarizing figures. But the path from a bullied child in apartheid South Africa to the world's richest man was neither straight nor easy. Elon Reeve Musk was born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, South Africa, to a Canadian mother and South African father. His childhood was marked by contradictions, privilege and pain, intellectual brilliance and social isolation. Born into a wealthy family under South Africa's racist apartheid laws, Musk lived what can only be described as a neo-colonial life. The young Musk was an awkward, introverted child who found refuge in books and computers while struggling to fit in with his peers. He endured severe bullying during his school years, including a particularly brutal attack at Bryanston High School that left him hospitalized. He was often beaten up by class bullies as a little, timid youngster until he grew strong enough to defend himself during a growth spurt in his teens. Perhaps most formative was his experience at what he called paramilitary Lord of the Flies wilderness schools, where bullying was a virtue and children were encouraged to fight over rations. At just 12, Musk was introduced to a wilderness survival camp, or Veldschool, where conditions were harsh and bullying was not just tolerated, but encouraged. These experiences taught him a brutal lesson about survival and power that would influence his leadership style for decades to come. Despite the trauma, or perhaps because of it, Musk channeled his energy into intellectual pursuits. He displayed an early talent for computers and entrepreneurship, creating a video game at age 12 and selling it to a computer magazine. This wasn't child's play. It was the first sign of a mind that could see opportunities where others saw obstacles. In 1988, after obtaining a Canadian passport, Musk left South Africa because he was unwilling to serve in the military that enforced apartheid. This decision represented more than avoiding military service. It was a rejection of the system that had shaped his formative years. The move to Canada, and later the United States, would prove pivotal in transforming the bullied South African boy into a global entrepreneur. The transition wasn't easy. Musk arrived in Canada with little money, working odd jobs, including cleaning boilers and chopping wood. But his mother's Canadian citizenship provided the pathway he needed to eventually reach the United States, where he believed the real opportunities lay. Musk's first major success came with Zip2, a city guide software company he co-founded with his brother Kimball in 1995. When Compaq acquired Zip2 for $307 million in 1999, Musk's share was $22 million, not bad for a 28-year-old. But rather than rest on his laurels, he immediately reinvested in his next venture. He became rich through several technology projects, including an online finance company, which merged with PayPal in the year 2000. The X.com PayPal merger and subsequent sale to eBay for $1.5 billion in 2002 gave Musk the capital he needed for his most ambitious projects. His $165 million share from the PayPal sale became the seed money for what would become his most famous ventures. With his PayPal windfall, Musk could have retired comfortably. Instead, he chose to tackle humanity's biggest challenges. In 2002, he founded SpaceX with the audacious goal of making space travel affordable and eventually colonizing Mars. The space industry laughed at the young entrepreneur who thought he could succeed where aerospace giants had dominated for decades. The early years were brutal. SpaceX's first 3 rockets failed spectacularly, nearly bankrupting the company. 2008 became Musk's annus horribilis. Both SpaceX and Tesla, the electric car company he had joined as chairman and later CEO, were burning through cash with no clear path to profitability. Musk faced an impossible choice: save one company, and let the other die, or risk losing everything. He chose to bet everything. Musk invested his last $35 million into both companies, borrowing money from friends to pay rent. The decision paid off spectacularly. SpaceX's fourth launch succeeded, earning a $1.6 billion NASA contract that saved the company. Tesla survived the 2008 financial crisis and began its transformation from startup to automotive giant. Today, Elon Musk co-founded and leads Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and The Boring Company. Each venture represents his attempt to solve existential challenges, sustainable energy and transportation, Tesla, making humanity a multi-planetary species, SpaceX, merging human intelligence with artificial intelligence, Neuralink, and solving urban traffic, The Boring Company. According to Forbes' real-time billionaires list, Musk is worth $432.1 billion as of May 29, 2025. This staggering wealth makes him the richest person in human history, but it's largely theoretical. Most of his fortune is tied up in Tesla and SpaceX stock, making his net worth highly volatile based on market sentiment and company performance. Musk's acquisition of Twitter for $44 billion in 2022 and its transformation into X demonstrated both his influence and his willingness to make controversial decisions. The platform became a laboratory for his views on free speech, though critics argued his approach often amplified misinformation and hate speech. Success has come at a personal cost. Musk has been married 3 times, twice to the same woman, British actress Talitha Riley, and has a complex relationship with his children. He has multiple children with different women, with his youngest born in September 2024, though he mainly keeps their lives private. His demanding work schedule, often described as 80 to 100 hours per week across multiple companies, has strained personal relationships. The bullied child from South Africa never fully escaped his past. Musk's leadership style, described by former employees as demanding, erratic, and sometimes cruel, bears the hallmarks of someone who learned early that the world is divided into victors and victims. His public persona oscillates between visionary genius and petulant child, capable of inspiring millions while alienating others with impulsive tweets and controversial statements. Musk was the largest individual donor of the 2024 election, helping re-elect Donald Trump, but later splitting with him in 2025 after briefly leading a federal agency called DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. In 2025, Musk contributed $19 million to the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, hoping to influence the state's future redistricting efforts and its regulations governing car manufacturers and dealers. His political evolution from a relatively apolitical entrepreneur to a major conservative donor reflects his growing belief that government regulation threatens innovation. Critics argue his political involvement represents the dangerous concentration of wealth and power, while supporters see him as defending free speech and entrepreneurial freedom. The Musk embodies the contradictions of modern capitalism. He's simultaneously humanity's best hope for sustainable energy and space colonization, and a cautionary tale about unchecked power and wealth concentration. He can inspire teenage engineers to pursue impossible dreams while firing thousands of workers via Twitter. He champions free speech while blocking critics on social media. The boy who once programmed video games to escape bullies now commands a business empire worth hundreds of billions and influences global politics. Whether history will remember him as humanity's savior or its cautionary tale remains to be written. What's certain is that the awkward child from Pretoria fundamentally changed how we think about electric cars, space travel, and the power of individual ambition. In the end, Elon Musk's story is quintessentially American, an immigrant who combined relentless ambition with technological vision to build an empire. But it's also uniquely South African, shaped by the harsh realities of apartheid, and the brutal lessons of survival. The bullied child became the bully, the victim became the victor, and the awkward boy became the world's richest man. Whether that transformation represents triumph or tragedy may depend on your perspective and your bank account.
Generate by AI.